I just want to know if you guys will have any input on how it ultimately ends, or if that will be a total surprise to you guys.
I looked at you.
I looked at you.
What is this, like, not it? No, we don't. I don't think that he and I are on board to just like throw it to the wind and be like, yeah, whatever they give us, sweet. I think certainly, and I know that we've had this conversation with Andrew and with Bob and the guys that are going to make these creative decisions and have expressed our desire to be a part of that process, which I think is the first year we've ever done that. We've always, and it's not as though we don't trust what they're going to deliver, because I'm sure it's going to be amazing, but I just think he and I want to at least be there and if we have any things that we can add, a little spice here, a spice there, I think that this is the year we do that. And so, yeah, we're going to attempt to take a bit more of an active role in the direction and the story this season more than we ever have. I don't know how much they're going to listen to us. They may just be like, yeah, that's a great idea. Which I'm prepared for that. But yeah, I think he and I, we're just, nobody's lived with these characters longer than he and I, and no one's told this story longer than he and I. And I think it would be doing a disservice to the show to not have he and I at least give a stamp of approval, not a stamp of, but give the input that I think the show deserves and that these characters deserve. And I think that the writers are like, yes, please, and they have. They're like, listen, please come to the office, sit in, like, let's bounce ideas.
Yeah, they've offered for us to come up, so we'll finish on Tuesday, and they've invited us up to LA to be a part of the storyboarding, sort of like the exploding dot of a season. So I feel like something wonderful about Supernatural so far has been Jared and Jensen have almost gone through what Sam and Dean have gone through, as in we don't know what's next. Like it was sort of like a trial by fire of, listen, you can't plan your life, you can't plan your work, you can't plan your schedule. This is what's going to happen. You're going to work 10 days in a row, 16 hours, and then you'll have a week off. But we're not going to tell you. And not that anybody did it out of malevolence or malice. It was more, that's just the way our lives kind of happened. And I feel like there was something nice about finally settling into, okay, this is our life. We're going to be busy. We're going to not know the next episode or the next season. But now I feel like more as a fan of the show. Yeah, as a fan of the show, I want to have some input as to the basic. I don't want to be that guy, the actor who calls the writers like, well, you said we are. Can I say we're? I don't want to be that guy. I'm not that guy.
He is that guy.
He's that guy. I'm not that place, I'm sorry. Yeah, so I feel like I'd like to offer my opinion. If they don't take it, fine.
Yeah. So we'll see what it is, and we'll know what it is before going into next season. And I'm excited.
We're all looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Kat. I'm from Hawaii, and you guys didn't come to Hawaii, so I came here. You can go to a helicopter right there.
Is that an invitation?
Yes!
Let's go!
All right. Okay, so my question is, how do you guys feel about seeing yourselves on screen?
I look great.
Yeah. Have you always felt that way? And have you learned from seeing yourself on screen?
I hate it. I hate it.
Really?
Dude, I don't watch it. Yeah.
Why did you have your trailer converted into one giant mirror on the inside?
Design stuff. I saw Max
Right. Just a design choice?
Yeah, Guns and Garden. Judge? It's my style. It's millennial.
I think he and I are pretty similar in the fact that we'll watch ourselves on screen, and it's far less of a all right, yeah, and much more of a like, okay, don't do that face ever again, or okay, that line worked. Okay, that was good. Wow, missed that one. So it's like we're almost taking score. So we're much more critical, I think, of ourselves than hopefully the audience is. Although I don't know, some of the comments in the comment section may disagree with me. I don't do that. I've just been told.
Read comments.
Never read the comments. But it's an objective thing. You know, I watch it to be like, okay, what's working and what's not working, and then try to capitalize on the things that worked the next time I have a scene that's similar. So it's more for research purposes than anything. It's hard to just sit back and watch ourselves as simply an audience member. I remember
it's hard to be objective. It's hard to look at it and go like, oh, I'll watch this like Game of Thrones or
right.
This Is Us or something. You know, you're gonna look at yourself and be like, oh, I remember that scene, shooting it. Oh, the guest star as a friend, we met, whatever. It's really difficult to.
Well, you've often said one of your favorite episodes was the episode where Bobby dies.
Death's Door.
Death's Door. And it was obviously not because Bobby was dying, but it was
like 5 days off.
It was a really, really, really strong episode, and it was acted brilliantly with Jim, and it was directed brilliantly by Bob, and it was also an episode that he and I were not in very much because it was all about telling Bobby's story and how he ends up where he is. And he and I remember watching that in our trailer because we were working when it aired. We watched it, and he and I were both just like, that was one of the best TV shows we've seen in a long time. And we quickly realized it was like, yeah, because we weren't in it. And then we got nervous. We were like, oh my gosh, what does that mean? Are we anchors of this show? Are we slowing it down?
We've officially finished 307 episodes of the show. And there are probably 5 or 6 times that I've watched the show and been like, that's a good TV show, I'd watch that, you know? I'm not saying like it's bad otherwise, but it's difficult to be objective. You know, you watch it and you're like, oh, missed that, nah, look weird, nah, I farted. While watching the show, not in the show. Like, just now, while answering this question.
Yeah, which looks like this. I'm sitting next to him, we're watching, and he's like, oh, wow, yeah, that looks good. Ooh, wow, sorry about that. What? Well, rewind it, I missed it, because I was trying to get that one out.
Force is strong right now. So I feel like...
There's some people here, this is their first convention, they're like, wow, not what I thought. This is an odd side of this show. I should have just stayed home and kept watching it.
Yeah, so it's a long-winded way, I suppose, to say
A long-winded way.
That was kind of mine, I'll take that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve Norton. Round of applause for Steve Norton, please.
It was a reluctant one. Good.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Safe travel back to Hawaii. See you there in the helicopter? Do you fly the helicopter or just ride with?
No, I go free.
She's like, well, look who's getting their helicopter's pilot's license.
Mahalo.
Jensen, you were amazing last night on the Saturday Night Special.
Whoa!
Not so bad yourself.
If you thought thought he was amazing last night. Nothing funny.
Oh, no, I'm really glad my question was for Jensen.
Thank God.
Long before there was Dean Winchester, there was a little show called Dark Angel. And in that show, there's one episode where you play the piano. You play a beautiful Chopin piece. And I've always wondered if it was really you playing the piano. And do you have any memories from Dark Angel you can share?
Yes, that was part me and part an actual piano player. They kind of cut the two together. I think whenever it did the close-up of the hands, that was not me. But I learned about 8 bars of that song and just played them over and over and over and over again. So I was able to get through enough of it to where they could get a shot that they needed. It was a very difficult song to play. Chopin, I believe. Yeah, coming from someone who never played the piano before. And funny stories from that. I don't know. That was a while ago. I don't know. I've certainly have a few. I will say that there's some that stand out in my head. One when I was in a boxing ring, and Jessica gets in to fight my character. So it's Max versus Alec, and she's like, okay, so we're gonna start the shot off, and it's gonna be a straight right punch, right in the face, and boom, and I step back. Well, she lined it up like this. She's like, okay. Then she stepped back, and I'm like, all right, well now she's even further back. Well, what I didn't take into account is that she's going to lean into the punch. So she went, boom, and caught me square in the nose. And
which is why it's so jacked up looking.
And that and many other reasons. But it was one of those where, and I was still young enough to be like, well, I can't stop. You know, I can't yell, God, that hurt. And now I'm older. And
all the time.
I was gonna say, now I'm older and more experienced, and yet I still don't say, God, that hurt. But there was that one, and there was another. There's a lot of me getting hit. There's another one where the Beresford Agenda was the episode, and there was a young actress, and she comes up to me and slaps me. And for some reason, she couldn't get the timing right. Like she couldn't do the fake slap, and so I was kind of getting frustrated. Like, just hit me, I'm like, she's, you know, a small girl. Like, how bad could it be? Y'all packed a punch. My whole face welded, but like it was like a welt of just like a handprint with like fingers, and like the whole crew it was like whack, and the whole crew was like ooh. I've learned not to let them do that. That doesn't mean I don't catch a few elbows or knuckles here and there, which is just part of the, you know, that happens every now and again. But yeah, I'll never just sign up to get hit anymore. That's no thanks. I can go out to a bar and get in a fight. I don't need to get defensiveless. No defense. You get the point.
Thank you.
Hello. At the end of the Scooby Natural episode, when Dean does the Scooby-Dooby-Doo, I'm wondering about how long that took, how many takes. It seems like there's some laughing going on.
So there was a small crowd of people who had gathered across the street. We had been filming inside the store all day, and there was a small crowd of people that had gathered to watch the film crew. Probably just going like, is it Arrow? Is it Legends of Tomorrow? Is it? Oh, it's Supernatural. Oh, okay. I'm just kidding. They knew who we were. And so Well, they did because he hires them to show up. So they're like, Jared! Yeah, it's like a whole thing. It's been going on for years.
They forgot their lines though first.
Right.
Yeah. So I had to call.
But we walk out onto the street and we've like framed the people out across the street, so they're all still there. I mean, they're within 20 yards of us, and they can't really hear what we're saying because we're just having regular dialogue. But I knew that as soon as I did that line, people were going to be like, "What?" Because they didn't know we were filming, and I just remember like thinking like, this is really embarrassing. And I was legitimately embarrassed to say that line because there was a bunch of people who didn't understand the context and didn't know that we were doing a crossover show and like the whole thing. And I'm like, they're just gonna hear me say this line from this old cartoon and they're gonna be like, wow, this show has really jumped the shark. They're just pulling out every stop they can. And so it was tough. Like,
They've gotten so old, they're animating themselves now to be on camera.
Yeah, that was an embarrassing moment, legitimately. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. No!
Would you? Different question. Would you Scooby-Doo?
I think they want you
do
to
it
take your
again?
scarf off.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm okay. I'm Olivia from Michigan, and my question was for Jared. My beanie fell off into the water display outside of the Bellagio. Where would you recommend I get a replacement?
The water display outside the Bellagio has a beanie in it.
Well, that one's for free.
It's loaded. Did you really?
Yeah, it was my favorite beanie, and the wind blew it off, and it's still there.
But wash off. Word to the wise. Word to the wise. Wash. Does your watch fall off?
Jared, I have a question for you. My favorite watch.
Jensen, my underwear just fell off. This up.
By the way, I gotta point something out, detail-wise. This is our first ever male last day.
He's like, trailblazer. I like it. All right, what's your question, Tom?
So, in the episode The French Mistake, we all know that Sam and Dean wind up in quote-unquote our world, because it can't really be our world, because as far as I know, Misha isn't dead in a gutter somewhere. As you know. But my question is, what happened to you two?
Where'd you go?
Where did we go in the alternate
there was
reality?
the
Like,
lock.
where were the actual actors?
There was a lock in a box.
Right, I got you. They were at a convention.
In Vegas, with Julie, as a matter of fact.
Oh my God, this is the alternate universe!
Honestly, I like to think that somehow Balthazar made them disappear for our benefit.
Yeah.
But I also like to think that they maybe just at a convention somewhere and didn't show up for work because they're asshole actors.